Longly awaited but never duplicated. Shouts out to Philly. Now this is Freeway and this is ThinkFree. Now I wanted to do this. I was debating with myself on whether to do this or not. But since I have title and since Freeway was signed to Jay-Z, I decided to do this review than other big acts that's coming out. I am going to do them. Of course, that Death Grip's gonna come out, but of course, I'm gonna do this one first. So, of course, Freeway was a person who signed with Jay Z in the early 2000s. He released several hits. He was diagnosed with cancer and took him out of the rap game for a while. But of course, he is back. And he is only one of two bald black guys who released a album this week. Of course, I'm just kidding. But he's a Philly legend. And he released this album, Think Free. And I just like to say, I'm going to take his advice and think as freely as I want of this album. So, any of you haters come and bitch about this, just think free. I'm just thinking free, man. Come on, man. So the intro starts out the album good as he's just busting rhyme after rhyme. I love this little thing where he says, I'm posted up with the stick. Is that a stigmata? If you don't hustle in the streets, then you're not going to get nada. I love that little verse right there. He also have this line where he says, getting money in this country is not a sin. Also very much love that line right there. Now, blood pressure. I don't know if Freeway have any gang affiliations, but Lil Wayne does. He's of course a blood, so of course he's gonna be on blood pressure. But yeah, Lil Wayne, when he came on this track, I thought he maybe confused this with a spelling bee, but I like how he tied it back to the whole punchline where he says he gave a bitch 3 wishes and she said she wants me. I thought that was a very nice line. That was pretty funny. But on this track, of course, Freeway, of course, does this little thing where, and this is a recurring problem on the album, where he compares himself to a Rockefeller or new Rockefeller, not a Rockefeller, a Rothschild. I damn wish he compared himself to a Rockefeller, but a Rothschild for like the second or third time on this album. And it will be a recurring thing of him comparing himself to a damn Rothschilds like shit. I mean, he compared himself to a Rothschild on a song like Blessings and All the Way Live. Like it's not like it's like he haven't heard of any other rich families and shit like that, like the Bushes or hell, even the Rockefellers. You worked under Rockefeller, man. And it points out a deep flaw with this album, as in it has no newer way to express balling or luxury. It just recycles shit. But hey, that's just me. But on Nation, I like how he does this thing where he says, I'll make you stiffer than a mannequin, join the nation, and now I'm the man again. I thought that was cool. Especially, I think he's talking about the Nation of Islam on this track. I like Jada Kid's verse too. There's one more thing I also like to point out. He does this line where he says he's surprised that he doesn't have to flip pies. Well, if you're part of the Nation of Islam, aren't y'all known for bean pies and shit like that? And I know he's talking about pies as in flipping cocaine, kind of, I guess, clever way to say drugs, but still. Oh yeah, and I also like that little line where he says they call me Moni because I'm always in the middle. That was pretty funny. The Nation, otherwise a good track, but still, the lackluster piano plus the whole church orchestra mixing together doesn't really make the beat sound good. Like on the song Blessings, he explains how he was blessed to meet up with Memphis Bean and of course meet Jay-Z, and he even brought out Michael Jackson to him. On the song's Legend, he even say he's on his best, MJ. He also does the whole check out my melody, which is a reference to Rakim. All Falls Down might be a slight nod to the Kanye track. Also, he says that Uzi is one of his best pals, which would make sense because he had him featured on Swagging on a Mayo, which I don't know if that's a Philly term or not, but sounds pretty like you're hungry and shit like that. I mean, I know Philly is known for their Philly subs, so I guess you're swagging on a Mayo subs or whatever. But Little Uzi Verb, he does this thing where he says his diamond's bigger than a tick. Do you know how small a tick is? Like, that's like saying your diamond is bigger than a fucking atom. Oh yes, and also on the song Swagging, he does this little stomp thing that remind me Yellow Tape by Fat Joe. And Fat Joe is also on this album. And he of course drops this strange line where he says the whip is the color of Trump's wife. Like, I mean, Trump's white too. I guess he's orange. A little strange thing to point out. And he also expresses himself as a Easy E with a fire thrower. I don't know if that's a reference to Easy E, like being in a video with a fire thrower or not. I don't know. About You and also Life on the Line, of course, is the simply drawn, just love a thug girl message that doesn't really convey much. I mean, About You, at least he had a guest vocalist that can sing, but Life on the Line didn't, and he's just not a singer, man. Uh, Real One is one of my favorites, even though Chameleon, she kind of sounded like Nicki Minaj, and her name kind of sounds like Chameleonaire, like she took that shit. And of course, she says she don't want to hear how hard it is to be a black man. Oh, okay, bitch. And she also has this line where she says, "How you real when your son calls another nigga daddy?" I mean, could you give us some context? That could be a stepfather. I don't fucking know. You know, Come Back, of course. It has this good soul sample. And he does this reference to reality rap, which I guess would tie in another NWA reference since Fat Joe started off with Easy. But hey, also, he does this little line where he says, where he tied the whole life sentence with rapping about prison line that I thought was pretty cool. And he also does this LL Cool J thing where he says, don't call it a comeback. But I'm like, dude, that's pretty ironic because you literally called this track a comeback. Overall, this album, it's not really great. It has its faults and stuff like that. And of course, he needs to improve, get better singers on it, probably even better rappers. I would give it a 5 overall. But that's just my opinion. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and I'm out. How did you feel about Freeway? Philly stand up. Philly fucking stand up, you know? And that's all I have to say. Please like, subscribe, share this. I'm out.